with a dog as a profile picture, and she said, I need to warn you, because you've organized this rally, you're going to be put on an FBI watch list. And I was very excited, I was intrigued, because I've never been on an FBI watch list before. So I started mowing my lawn topless. And when I go down to the mailbox now, I just wear an apron and some flip-flops. Yeah, if the government is going to spend my tax dollars watching me, they're getting the full show. Now, when I was little, my dad was a dick. Oh, it's almost Father's Day. Sorry, Dad. He was a hard ass. He had a no dogs, no cats, no arguments policy at our house. And for some reason, we were allowed to have rodents as pets, and we had like this guinea pig graveyard in our backyard, but we couldn't have any dogs. So I spent a lot of time next door at my neighbor's house because they had 3 dogs, and I had this dog training book, and I would study it, and I would go into the kitchen and load my pockets full of cheese, and I'd go next door, and I would train my neighbor's dogs. And I got the little wiener dog to roll over, and I got the black lab to shake hands, and I got the collie to sit and to lie down. And it was easy. Training dogs was so easy. And it wasn't until later, when I was training my own dog, trying to get her to sit, that I realized my neighbor's dogs were just using me for my cheese. I knew that stuff already. So I knew when I was very young that I was not like other girls. And I could tell by the way we played, because my neighbor and I, we used to play house, and she would set her dolls up in these little chairs, and she'd be the mommy, and I would just roll around the floor, because I just wanted to be the dog. When I was in my 30s, I was single. I didn't really get married until a couple years ago. I used to walk with my girlfriend Ashley at Robert E. Lee Park, and we would walk our dogs after work, and we would look for straight, single men to go out with. And there were none, very, very few. But I noticed this one guy. There was this one attractive guy at the park, and he seemed heterosexual. And he had the cutest little red pig dog. She was a pit bull, and she looked like a little pig. And I would try to get his attention, but he was usually following this skinny blonde with big boobs around. And I could never get him to pay any attention to me. So one day, I'm driving through my neighborhood, and I see the guy from the dog park, and he's taking his trash out, and he was my neighbor. He lived like a block away from me. So I started stalking him. It took a while, because I didn't know his schedule, but I would walk my dogs around the block, until finally I ran into him, and I knew I had to make my move really quickly. So I did what any predatory pedophile would have done, and I told him that I had a litter of puppies in my basement, and I had just baked fresh chocolate chip cookies. And this was true. I lured him into my house with puppies and cookies, and before long I had taught him to stay. Now, one of the punishments for being my boyfriend is that I would randomly drop off these brain-damaged, unadoptable pit bulls at his house. And during the course of our relationship, I brought him many dogs. And it was always like, just for a day, Tom. Just until this foster home opens up. That's a good one. And some of the dogs were so brain-damaged that they ended up staying. Now, he already had this little red pig dog, Phoebe, and she had eaten not 1 but 2 living room sets. He came home one day and found his couch shredded. There was foam everywhere, and little Phoebe, she was curled up inside a little couch cushion with her little ears sticking out. And so I brought him this dog named Bunny. And, from appearance's sake, Bunny looked normal. She was a little white bull terror. She'd been abandoned at a kennel, and she had the worst separation anxiety of any dog I've ever seen. She was uncontainable. Bunny would chew through a crate and eat through a door. She dove out a second-floor window on 4th of July. Tom would come home sometimes and find Bunny completely engulfed in the mini blinds, and he'd have to cut her out of the mini blinds. He came home one day, swear to God, she was on top of the refrigerator. She had gotten up there and could not get down, so we had to help her down. She's been up there all afternoon. Bunny, we still have her. She's ancient. She has no teeth, and her tongue just kind of sticks out. And she is on Prozac now. So as if that wasn't bad enough, I bring him this little Chili dog. So Chili dog was the cutest little staffy. He's white and he's got gray brindle spots, and he has this little funky ear that sticks straight up, and we think that he's receiving messages from the mothership through that little ear. And Chili had been frozen to death in a snowbank. He had no vital signs when he was found. And the veterinarian resuscitated him and brought him back. And when he recovered physically, he came to live with us. But we had family that wanted him based on his picture, so he went out to this new home. And they brought him back the very next day. And we didn't realize how brain damaged he was from being frozen. So I said to Tom, well, that's so sad, why did these people bring him back? And we started observing him and, watching his really strange behavior. And the one thing that I just could not get past was his humongous, very inappropriate boner. Chili had this anatomically incorrect boner, constant, and it was so huge, and I figured that the guy we had adopted him to had felt outgunned. And that's why he returned little Chili. So the funniest thing I saw Chili, Bunny, and Phoebe do was the three of them tried to go through a kitchen door at the same time, going different directions. So Phoebe, or Chili, who's very determined, he was trying to go in the house. And Phoebe and Bunny were going out, and the three of them got wedged in the doorway. And Chili's little feet were kicking because his little feet were off the ground. And if Tom hadn't been there to just kind of nudge him through that doorway, they would have been stuck like that for hours, maybe. So now, as if this wasn't bad enough, I brought him a third dog, Miss Beasley. Now, Miss Beasley is this old, broken-down Basset Pit mix. Droopy old grouchy dog. We call her the grouch on the couch. And Miss Beasley, she was found outside in the winter also, but she was not frozen to death because Miss Beasley has this cloud of fart that is an atomic sort of a protection device that she has that kept her from freezing to death. And Tom has not had to take credit for any of his own personal gas since Miss Beasley came to live with him. In fact, recently we were driving somewhere and I smelled something foul. And Tom turned to the back seat and he said, "Miss Beasley," and she was not in the car. So little did I know when I was dating this man and dropping off all these ridiculous dogs at his house that he was going to want to marry me, because the other guys I had done this to had not been the result. So suddenly I'm faced with, we're going to blend a family of these 4 dogs and my 2 perfect dogs. And so we blended our family of 6 pit bulls and a little kitty cat, which I do not recommend doing. And we moved out of the city, and we're able now to provide sanctuary for these old senior unadoptable dogs, and it makes us very happy to be able to do that. And you'll see me sometimes up on the NCR trail with my dog Marvin. Marvin feels special because I carry his poop around in a little plastic bag. And I've been training him to honor me by carrying my poop around in a little plastic bag. I'd like to thank you very much, Mark. Thank you.